Hey guys, GunZap coming to you from Amsterdam on this sunny Monday afternoon, and the Oris ProPilot X, it's what everyone's talking about right now. I thought I'd do something a bit different and put together an edit from 4 watch tubers that I respect, and at least this is what they said that stood out to me. And if you're really interested, I highly recommend you go and view their channels and see what they said in its entirety. So, something a bit different. Let's see how it goes. Let me know in the comments.
So to keep you in the loop with what's been going on, just in case you haven't seen the previous video, a marketing company connected to Oris invited me out to Shanghai. They flew me out and put me up in this hotel room.
Oris, I didn't get any business class tickets, so I'm in the perfect spot to tell you the truth about this new Oris that's just hit the market.
And if you were to ask any, watch lover to pick a brand that has been delivering the goods over the past few years, Oris is likely to come up in a lot of responses.
In a surprise move, Oris released quite the showstopper, a watch they are calling the Big Crown ProPilot X.
All I got from Oris was this fucking shitty fucking tie pin.
It is 44mm in size, made from titanium with a fully skeletonized movement and a 10-day power reserve.
And with that open skeleton dial and full titanium case, it's something a little different from the brand.
But regardless of that, I'm going to tell you what I think of the watch. Not that that really matters all that much. More importantly, I'm going to tell you the facts around the watch so you can make your own mind up about what you think of it.
I gotta be completely honest with you, this watch here, I gotta sum it up very, very quickly. What the fuck were you morons thinking?
Retail in the ballpark of $6,000.
The price on the watch is $7,600.
$7,500 US dollars? Fuck me dead!
Guys, if you're in the market for a sporty skeleton at around $7,000 US, this ProPilot is going to be a solid option.
It has been said that the process of creating this watch has taken half a decade, and I can agree with that. There is a lot of attention to detail here.
We'll start this review with the case, because I think that's a standout on this watch. Made in full titanium, it's super light in hand and on the wrist.
This is titanium. They've given it a natural finish. I ain't fucking fooled. That's lazy. That's lazy.
A fully satin titanium case and bracelet always looks the business. You can never go wrong with it. The desired effect of creating an understated watch with this finish works every time.
The big thing around the watch is the design of it. It's a very striking design.
The case lines are sharp and aggressive. The lugs taper to near perfection, and they sit below the case back.
The actual design of the case is eerily reminiscent of German-inspired case designs, but we can also see touches of Oris motifs in there as well.
Wearability for me is actually a standout, and that bracelet, I think, is a key part in that. It's simply brilliant, with a nice simple clasp matching up to it that's super easy to adjust and open.
It's got the most fucking ridiculous, the latch on it, it's actually bigger. So normally with watches, they taper down.
A small tab that says lift on it. And why is it fantastic visual storytelling? Well, it resembles the buckle of an airplane seatbelt. Some may say it's too on the nose, if you can see the resemblance. But I think it is fantastic storytelling.
If you see how the bracelet tapers down and then the clasp suddenly expands, and I feel it kind of, for me, it ruins that flow.
The bezel is inspired by a turbine. That's a nice touch. The crown adopts a very Richard Mille-esque Boolean difference. And now we can observe the dial in more detail.
A flat brushed titanium ring sits above this bezel, and towards the inside of the dial, we see a gradual step down. This step features a less busy, yet similar pattern to the outer turbine blade pattern, and I think that this frames the bezel of the watch really nicely. It wraps around what is arguably the centerpiece of this watch, and that is the dial.
What has been done intelligently here is the placement of the sub-seconds dial and the large power reserve indicator. They are by no means loud and visually heavy, so the eye is not drawn to them, but they're also in such a position that lets them stay in the background unless needed. The use of greys and charcoals also helps break up the visual weight of the bridges that intersect. And as we can see, the use of white on the dial implies the function. It is the easiest color to see and makes for easy viewing. The size of the hour and the minute hands makes seeing the time at a glance very easy, which is something that is often neglected with skeletonized pieces.
You know, they've skeletonized it, but they haven't done all the champering, the edges and all the little swirls. No, they've left it natural. Again, fucking nasty and cheap.
Thing that stands out to me personally as the most interesting part, the biggest thing about the watch, is the movement inside. This is the new caliber, the new in-house caliber 115. It's an updated version of their in-house caliber, the 110, and it's simply just been made easier to manufacture and more efficient. So they've made quite a few changes to improve the efficiency of the movement.
It has an absolutely crazy 10 days of power reserve. The caliber 115 is partly visible from the front with that open barrel standing out. However, this movement is best appreciated when we turn the watch over. This newly developed caliber 115 is on full display and it's stunning visually. It features 38 joules, it beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it has that 240 hours of power reserve.
And it's got a 10-day power reserve. That's a great idea, but it's not COSC certified, and it's not that accurate. Fuck me dead! There's no point putting 10-day. If you're going to do 10-day badly, why don't you do 3-day or 4-day better? Do it perfectly. Don't go sloppy.
All of these adjustments have meant that the watch is actually a 12-day power reserve, around 12-day power reserve. That's what they say. When the power reserve indicator, the linear power reserve indicator gets around to 0, empty, it roughly has 2 days of a reserve tank in there.
My first initial gripe is towards the dial. What is a pilot's watch supposed to be? An instrument. Is this watch an instrument? Absolutely. But what I would have liked to have seen is the watch providing more emphasis with its indices. Possibly rounded plots instead of rectangles, but in any case making them slightly larger for the sake of quicker readability.
And thankfully there is white loom that covers the majority of the visible surface area. This hit of white from the loom provides the basis for legibility across all the hands, and without the loom, the hands would simply blend too much into the busy backdrop.
I feel like the tolerances could be tightened up, especially at this price and the style of the watch. It's got a very industrial, very kind of brutalist design about it, and I feel like things should be really tight, really rock solid, and there seems to be a bit of looseness around the end links where they fit the case, the lugs. I just feel like that could be tightened up a bit.
I think it's just a little too raw for me. I personally think that some more consideration in terms of, I guess, how Oris could have better finished these surfaces while still retaining an industrial look would have perhaps been a good consideration, and they may have come up with a better alternative.
If the crown guard grew out of the case more gradually, the result seems to have a less harsh effect on the eye, providing a near seamless join. And finally, one feature that I truly admire of the Anlango & Söhne Datograph Lumen is the way that the dial is separated from the movement by a transparent backing. Perhaps a minor transparent glass might make the dial all the more legible.
Fucking stupidity! Stupidity. I don't know where Oris gets these delusions of grandeur. Oris, you're at the fucking arse end of the market. Fucking stay there.
Baselworld, they were arguably best in show with what they delivered in the 65 and the Aquas collection. So when you think about it, it would have just been easy for them to just keep tweaking those releases of models and not release a watch like this. However, this is something a little more modern, and I think it gives us a clear indication of the direction that the company wants to go next. For me, I think that this release signals that the brand's intention of creating higher end pieces to expand their capabilities, and I guess just to reach a wider audience. This can only be a good thing for the brand. However, I would have personally taken a different approach, something a little more reserved, and something more suitable for a wider range of risks.
But what stands out to be the coolest thing about this watch, and why I understand that Oris has invested so much marketing money into this launch, is that it's not just about the watch. It's about the future of Oris. This is a flex for Oris. This is Oris showing what they're capable of doing. They've put their name on the map of the Diver 65, which is an off-the-shelf movement, and now they're kind of coming out with this thing that is in-house and really quite impressive.
It proves that we are stepping into an age where a concept can be taken and translated from the page into something physical without shortcuts. That is what makes the world of design for manufacture infinitely more fascinating and opens new realms of creative opportunities for the future.